Okay, folks, we're just going to have one last quick little video um, to run through PowerPoint, right? You can head up with the information there. Okay, we got our unit, topic, date, Covey connection, and objective. Okay, describe the features of the world's grasslands and forests. Now, we've already covered a lot in the textbook, okay? So you can freeze that and write down your headings. Next slide here, we've just got a couple of keywords. Temperate, okay, mild temperatures, good rainfall, they're very good for growing crops. So that ties into our temperate grasslands. Next of all was that word irrigation we saw in the textbook. The movement of water to areas where water is rare, usually used to allow farming to occur. Desertification we talked about in the tropical grasslands, okay, and steppe, another name for temperate grasslands. We'll look back at that one in a little bit. So again, just to give you some idea of where our tropical grasslands are in the world, okay, we'd have our rainforest along here, rainforest in the middle here, and these islands we know have rainforests. Our grasslands, our tropical grasslands, are found either side of that near the tropics, okay? So that's just showing you where in the world they might be. Just some more images, just kind of to reinforce what we've done in the textbook. Again, notice large, huge open areas, mainly grassland, but please pay attention, there are some tree species, okay? Try and remember that when we look at our temperate grasslands in a little bit as well, where there's no tree species, all right? Again, another little picture there, lots of wildlife, mainly grass vegetation. Also, our textbook talked about elephant grass, okay? So again, tropical grasslands are dominated by tall grasses and a mixture of trees. You can make a little note of this under where you've done your keywords. Okay, you can see just how tall this grass can be. All right, so because of the temperature and the rainfall, it can be very lush. Now, we do need to pause here and make a note of these. So some adaptations in the savanna. We already looked at how the grasses have adapted, but the trees, whatever trees there are, okay, the castor tree and the baobab tree, all right, they have long roots to reach down to water. They have thick bark to resist fires. Okay, we talk about those fires clearing out the vegetation. Deciduousness to avoid moisture loss, so that some of them will lose their leaves. That's what deciduousness means, that when a tree loses its leaves. And the use of a wide or thick trunk to store water. Now I'll show you some pictures of just what the lengths this tree goes to, okay? So there we got our very famous kind of shape of our acacia tree. All right, you can see the giraffe below it, so you get an idea of just how big this is. All right. And now this is our baobab tree, or baobab, whichever way you say it. So very strange looking thing, but the trunks can swell up to hold thousands of gallons of water, all right, to allow them to grow. This is a picture of a maybe less pretty one, which is obviously swelled to a huge size, okay? But they're the adaptations they make. Now, temperate grasslands of the world. These are further north and further south than our tropical. Okay, the tropical grasslands are closer to the middle, the equator. Now, I want you to make a quick note of these as well, under where you've headed up. Okay, so you can pause. The USA, they're called prairies, USA and Canada. South America, they're called pampas, down here. Then we got our vels, our steppes across. I want you to put Asia and put Europe here as well. Okay, they come into Europe. And then the ones in Australia are actually called downs. All right, so just let's make a little list of that. Add Europe beside Asia for steppes, okay? Our temperate grasslands then. Again, vast open spaces, but no tree species at all. This is just open grassland, all right? And we've done that. Moving quickly on to our deciduous and coniferous forests, okay? Again, the deciduous has much more variety. If you look back at your social studies book, when we looked through the list of trees, there was 7, 8, 9, 10 different types, okay? And that's why they have all these different colors. This is a picture of Northeast America, USA. In the fall, when they all start to lose their leaves, they go these spectacular colors and put on a big show, okay? Soon after this, they lose all their leaves, all right? They're deciduous. Now, some uses. I want you to make a copy of this table as well, please. All right, so the deciduous tree, all right, we got our maple, our oak, our birch, our beech, and what they're used for. You could add beside maple, we get maple syrup. Deciduous then, look at the difference. all very similar, a much darker, fuller green, okay? And again, you can see the expanse here. You can make out the cone shape of each of these trees, right? They're all like Christmas trees. And then just to finish off, these were our 3 examples we looked at in the book: the fir, the spruce, and the pine, and some uses for them. Okay, so if we could make a copy of that table as well, that would be great. Now, just some last little bits of work. Okay, I'm not going to send you this worksheet because we've actually answered most of it on it. There's just some other little notes I want you to make. So as I scroll down, I'll stop at certain places, okay, and you can add those notes under where you've headed up for the day. So let me continue. We've done this table, okay, you've already made those notes from the PowerPoint, and you've already added in our textbook. We wrote down barley, oats, and rye for 5 cereal grains that are grown in grassland areas. Maize and what was the other one? Maize and corn, was it? We've already done that, okay? On this page, all I want you to do is, again, make another little note if you're still not certain. Temperate rainforest, okay? Can be deciduous or coniferous. Deciduous trees lose their leaves during the year, normally during the cold or dry season. Coniferous trees are evergreen. They do not lose their needles or leaves all at one time, okay? Yes, the coniferous do drop leaves all year round, but the deciduous trees in fall and winter, they lose all of their leaves at one big go, okay? So you can make a little note of those bits there. Everything else on that page we've already done. And the last little piece I want to look at then, deciduous forests, okay, we've done where those are. We didn't talk really about forests, what people do there, so you can make a little note of these 2 things here. People have chosen to live in the areas, okay, just to show you again. This is our deciduous forest, okay. Clearing forest for farming, settlement, and industry. Mining is also an important activity. So there's 4 different things that we do in deciduous forests, if you make a note of those. I also want you to just, products that we get from the ground include coal and gas. All right. So that's what happens. That's what human activity goes on in the deciduous forest. We've already filled in that little table, and we filled in this little one down the bottom as well. Okay. So just again, under coniferous forest, you can do a little subheading, coniferous forests, all right, and we're going to look at what people have done in these areas. So lumberjacks cut down trees, and again mining, okay. We hunt animals there, we used to, all right, it doesn't happen much anymore. Logging is an important activity, so you can write down logging, and then trees are cut, and rivers are used to transport the logs to a mill or to sawmills where they're cut into planks for building, crushed into pulp for paper making. Okay, so you don't need to write all of this, but just logging, trees cut and transported, used for planks for building, pulp for paper. Okay, and one other thing they do, actually, sorry, 2 things. Mining is also important in our coniferous regions. We get iron, gold, copper, silver, nickel, uranium from these areas. Okay, so you can write down those 2 sentences. And last of all, farming is not very successful. So in coniferous forest areas, because it's usually very cold, the growing season is very short, and the soils are poor quality. So we don't farm there, but we do mine, logging, and we used to hunt for animals. Okay, so this page is kind of important because it talks to us about what we do in coniferous and deciduous forests. All right, so that is us finished. There is no assignment with today's lesson. I'll be setting you work on Wednesday, okay? So please check in again then, and I will have your work set for you on Wednesday. All right, that's us done.